Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be talking about more products from the brand Vieve. So this is her Muse palette that came out a couple of weeks ago. I picked it up like right when it came out because it's absolutely gorgeous. So along the way, I did pick up a couple of her other products as well, so we're going to try a bunch of new things today. You guys know the drill. I'll try everything for an entire week and then come back on Friday and give you guys my final thoughts. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first product we're going to try is the Vieve Skin Nova Instant Radiance Primers. I already kind of put on some moisturizer this morning because my face was feeling really dry when I was making coffee, so that's okay. We'll just have extra nutrients and moisture today. I guess that's fine. All right, clipping everything back. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Oh, so it says skin-loving ingredients with ultra-fine pigments to give a golden hour glow to the skin. What does that mean? Here we go. Ooh! Oh! Okay, so it definitely does have a color to it. I wonder if it'll work for all skin tones. I'm just going to try this one pump first and we'll kind of see how far we get with this. Ooh. Kind of, it has like a slight scent to it, but it's very like fresh, very clean. Does my face look more glowy? It does kind of, a little bit. It looked a little bit sallow before the primer. Now it looks slightly more hydrated and prepped. So we'll kind of see, I guess, how it goes. This is something that I think will definitely take me an entire week to be able to tell you guys how I feel about it. So first impressions wise, it's like hard to say. But I like it so far. I don't know. It didn't weird me out in any way, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and put on my foundation and as many of my base products as possible, and then we will come right back. Okay, so I ended up also purchasing another highlighter in a different color just because the highlighter that I have right now in Holy Chic is going to be, I think, a little bit dark for me in the winter time. So I just wanted to purchase a lighter shade so that I could have it. Also, if you can hear pitter patter in the background, that's a couple of our dogs. I'm currently dog sitting right now, and they are playing with Obi, so all good things. Here is the lighter highlight. So this is the highlight in Bijou. I'll hold up Holy Chic so you can kind of see and compare the two. You can see how much I've used like Holy Chic, but you can just see like it's a little bit darker. And so I'm going to go ahead and try this lighter shade and see how it looks. And then we will get to the most important part of this video, which is the Muse palette. I feel like it's a different kind of highlight than Holy Chic. Like it's kind of interesting to me. It doesn't feel as chunky, honestly. Not that it's like, not that Holy Chic is chunky, but when you look in the pan, and I don't know if you can see that, you can kind of see that like as I turn Bijou, there aren't just as many of those like glitter flecks in there. So I feel like the way that it looks on your skin is just a little bit different. I like both of them, but I would definitely say Bijou is probably more of the like a more natural one with the skin kind of a highlight, where this is, where Holy Chic is like definitely you can bump that up quite a bit. Although I imagine you could probably do that with this one too. So just depends on what you prefer for highlights, but I like both of them. So I feel like complexion wise pretty much everything is done. So let's get to playing with our eye makeup today. So we just had a huge camera fail, which is fun. That's okay, because it means that my swatches are already done. Yay! I did pick up a couple of other things from her line, not just the Muse palette. I did end up also getting two of her eye wands. I have this in the colors Sand and Hazelnut. So I'll go ahead and show you all of the swatches here first. So on the side, these two vertical ones, this one here is Sand, and then the deeper one is Hazelnut. And then I do have all of the shades of the Muse palette swatched really not elegantly on my arm. One of these days I will actually learn how to swatch so that like I don't have to hold my arm in like a really weird angle, but it is what it is. This is the packaging, by the way, of the Muse palette. So it is essentially the same as the Essentials palette that she came out with first. The packaging is very much the same. It just has Muse, and I believe this is written in Jamie's handwriting, which I think is really cool. And then here is the eyeshadow palette. So for those of you that know me really well, you know that when this was released and all the promos were released, I was like, yeah, I'm getting that, like, no question about it. So the Essential palette is a palette that I travel with. I love using it. It's one of those palettes where I know I can use it for like really, really subtle looks if I want to, but I can amp it up like crazy for really, really dark, deep, sultry, like nighttime tones as well. So I kind of figured that the Muse palette would be the exact same. I'm going to go ahead and use the Sand Eye Wand as my eyeshadow primer. Putting a decent amount on, and I do intend on smoking out my eye quite a bit, so I'm placing this just a little bit higher on my eye. And I'm going to take, well, I guess I could use my finger to blend this out, right? This definitely feels like, ooh, this definitely feels like one of those cream eyeshadow sticks where like when it's on and dry, like this is not going anywhere. You know what I am noticing though? This did a really great job of covering all of my discoloration on my lids. Like it looks like I put foundation on my lids and just like covered everything up. And you see this like this little pimple that's been hanging out here rent free for like years. It's not years, it's like weeks, days and weeks. It feels like forever to me. But anyway, the point is the redness is actually covered up. You can definitely see that there's just like a spot there now. There's a bump, but for the most part, the eye wand concealed that right up. So that's really cool. All right, let's go ahead and see how it does with eyeshadow on top of it. This actually goes quite cool toned. Like I would say Love, Source, and Merlot, like the mattes here. I'm holding the eyeshadow palette upside down because it's easier for me to hold when I'm like talking to you. But Love, Source, and Merlot, these are definitely warmer mattes, I would say. And then Bow and Mystic have a little bit more of a deeper tone, and same with Velvet as well. You can kind of like, they've got that like purple shift to it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put Bow into my crease. I think what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna go a little bit more cool toned just because I like cool toned colors. But when I come back on Friday, obviously I'm going to use this eyeshadow palette all week long. You guys know how reviews go. On Friday when I come back, I'll make sure to do my eye makeup with more of a, like more of the warmer shades so that you can at least see what they look like. So far everything is gliding on really, really well with the eyeshadow primer underneath, or the cream eyeshadow underneath. I think I added a little bit more pigment on this side. I swear my left eye always ends up looking slightly more pigmented, and I have no idea why. It's just like, it's very strange. And then I'm going to go ahead and take Mystic, which is like a really, really mauve-y purpley tone, and I'm just going to kind of put that right into the crease. By the way, this is the LR120 tapered blending brush from Laruce. If you have not checked out that brand, by the way, you absolutely should. Obi totally agrees. Their brushes are just absolutely incredible. I use them for travel. If you follow me on my Instagram stories, you've probably seen me like put it in my duffel bag a million times. The reason why I travel with them is because the quality of them is just so incredible. And then also I've washed them a million times, and yet the quality of them, like they haven't changed since I got them when they were brand new. So just in case you were wondering what brush I'm using. I'm going to take Velvet now, which is this deeper velvet. No, the color is velvet. I'm going to take this deeper purple shade, purple pinkish shade, and really kind of define my eye. And then I am going to take a bit of a denser brush here, and I'm just going to wiggle this back and forth in that same shape just to kind of keep it. Is it me, or is that looking a little bit splotchy? It's a little bit splotchy on this eye. I feel like the pigment is a little bit better on my left eye here. Can you see that? You see that it's like quite a bit darker up here and quite a bit lighter here. Let's see if we can rectify that. Could just be me. Back and forth. Again. That's better. Okay, so for this one, I feel like for the deeper shade, I think the best technique would be to pack that color on and then diffuse it out. Still see a little bit of a gap right here. I feel like I have I just have myself like a hole in my eye or something. I haven't done this shape in a while. Usually I'll do like this C in the outer corner. So I don't know. Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and take Regal now, which is this beautiful pink shade. And I'm going to place that all over the lid. I am going to use a dampened brush for this. I love how purpley this eyeshadow, like, it's not, okay, the colors that I used are definitely more on the cool tone side, so I can see why, like, it's shifting a little bit more, like, on the mauve-y purple side, but, like, I really like it. I really like how this looks. Very smoky, very dramatic. The shimmer shades in this definitely feel a little bit different than the shimmer shades in the Essential palette, the first one that she got. So when I come back on Friday and give you guys like my full like final thoughts and everything, I'll kind of let you know whether or not my hypothesis is true, whether it's like a different formula, because they just feel, they feel a little bit softer and not as gritty. And then you can actually see in terms of the reflect, like they're not as sparkly and shimmery as the Essential palette. They're more of that like, they've got more of like a different kind of a sparkle to them. It's almost like a tiny bit more metallic, more shimmer, less glitter, if that makes sense. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely different. I kind of want to keep building on this because I'm crazy. So I'm going to take just a little bit of finery and I'm going to put it into the center of my eye. I'm not expecting it to really show up because I'm placing a really light gold on top of a really like deep pink. So what I am expecting it though to do is to turn it a little bit more of that, like to just warm it up a little bit, make it a little bit more peachy. And that is exactly what I'm getting right now. So if you ever feel like you, by the way, this is kind of like something that you can do when you're doing eyeshadow. If you ever feel like you've made something a little bit too deep or anything like that, feel free to layer like a lighter color on top of it and kind of morph the colors a little bit. Like mixing eyeshadows has always been super fun. Like I've had like blue and red palettes before where I've like turned those into like more of a purple shift. So color stories. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and smoke out my under eye. We're gonna put on a really thin liquid liner and then mascara, and we will be right back. I really like how my eyes look right now. I feel like they're very, it's just, it's such a beautiful, like, cool tone pink. Yeah, I'm in love with this. So, really like it. I definitely did smoke out my lash line with my lower lash line with Velvet. A little bit of the Regal just to give it some of that, like, sparkle. And then in my inner corner, I have Divine, which is really just a lovely, like, this is a gorgeous pink. I honestly cannot wait to put this color all over my lid as just like my eyeshadow color. Like that's absolutely stunning. I'm super stoked on this palette. The only thing I'm not super stoked on was that Velvet color. I had a little bit of a harder time smoking that out kind of and getting it to blend without having it move around. So that's like a slight concern to me. I will say anything eyeshadows, especially when they start getting into that more purpley tone, for some reason I have found that like most of the purple shades are just a little bit harder to blend out. I don't know what it is about the pigmentation, but it's just something that I've observed over like the past 6 million years that I've been wearing makeup, and obviously because I love cool toned pinks and purples so much, like this is just something that I've noticed. So surprising, no, kind of sad about it and how it's not as great as like some of the other matte shades in the palette. Yes, definitely. I'm gonna open up my very last product that I got from them. This is the Modern Lip Definer in the color Brat. I already have this in Velvet Sands, but Velvet Sands was like so much of a My Lips But Better shade that I wanted to just get a different one. Really cute shade there. A little bit more on the warmer side, so may not totally match with my lips today, but we will go ahead and use the lipstick in the color Vieve, which is more of a cool toned nude, to kind of balance that out. Okay, so this is the final look that we have created for today on this lovely and beautiful rainy Sunday as I look out the window. I love how everything turned out, honestly. I've already kind of talked about my comments on the eyeshadow palette and kind of how I felt about all of the shades that I used. I do want to talk a little bit about that Skin Dew. I think my foundation looks really nice. What do you guys think? I did use one of my favorites. This is the Chanel, absolutely amazing foundation, one of my favorites, but I think everything looks really, really nice. So now the question is, how is the eyeshadow and foundation, I guess, going to last throughout the day? I don't know. We'll do one check-in today and just check in on how the eyeshadow is doing. I want to see if the pigmentation really stays. Usually what I'm used to doing is using an eyeshadow primer instead of an eye wand or a cream eyeshadow stick underneath my eyeshadow, so I'm curious to see how her eye wands do with the eyeshadow on top of it and if it kind of helps it live throughout the rest of the day, or if it gets patchy. So yeah, we will see, and I will let you guys know in a little bit. See you guys then. Hey everyone, welcome to our first and probably final check-in of the day. But I wanted to show you up close how we are looking after a very extensive day of lots of wine drinking, watching a lot of football, and then passing out during and having a nap because of the wine. So anyway, you can definitely see, like, I actually think that the eyeshadow still looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with how it stayed on. The pigmentation is still there. You can actually even see some of the lightness that I added on top just to make it a little bit less smoky, which was the last step essentially of when I was doing my eyeshadow look. So I'm pretty impressed. Also, let's talk really quickly about my skin. It's definitely rubbed off a little bit. I'm gonna keep trying the Skin Dew to see how it goes, but for the most part, I liked it underneath the foundation. I think my skin looks really nice. It's just whether or not it actually helps with, like, I don't know, because I usually generally want my primers to be really good at helping my foundation stay on all day, and so that's kind of what I will be testing and seeing. So yeah, see you guys on Friday, but so far so good, and I'm loving this eyeshadow color. Those pinks are just they're beautiful. So yeah. All right, see you guys soon. Hey everyone, welcome back. It is now Friday, thank God. Yes, I'm so excited. Okay, let's go ahead and recap all of the different products that I have been trying from Vieve this week. Let's go ahead and talk about the very first product. This is the Skin Nova, the Radiance Primer. Okay, I think my skin is slightly too oily for this product to work. For me, it was kind of one of those things where, like, if I put on a moisturizer and then this on top of it, it was definitely overkill. It made my face a little bit more hydrated than I would have wanted throughout the day, but I did discover that if I wore this just alone, no moisturizer, it wore pretty well throughout the day. And then also the other thing too that I want to note is that this is definitely a product I want to keep on hand for the days when I actually don't wear any foundation or any tinted moisturizer. This is just something that goes on so beautifully on your skin, gives it a slight glow, helps it kind of look a little bit more refreshed, a little more hydrated, a little bit more smoothed out and perfected. And so for that, I definitely like this. I just think that, like, when I use this product, I have to be a little bit more conscious about what I combine with it underneath, because it definitely has, I mean, again, right, it actually says that it is a hydrator and it has skin loving ingredients, which means that it also has skincare built into it. So for me, I just can't double up too much on the skincare. Let's go ahead and talk about the eye wands now. I really, really liked both of these products. What I ended up doing throughout the week, because if I wanted to just do a very quick eye look, I didn't want to do a full-blown eyeshadow look, what I would do is I would take Hazelnut and just draw in a line right along my lash line, and then I would take a powder eyeshadow and kind of layer over it, and that literally would last the whole day. It lasted through workouts, it lasted through exhausting meetings, and I'm really, really quite impressed with her eye wands. In general, I anticipate using sand a lot as an eyeshadow primer. I think it worked really well. It has, like, the perfect consistency in terms of, like, gripping your eyeshadow, but not making it too tough to blend, if that makes sense. So really, really like these. I'm actually thinking about asking G Brown for the full set of these for Christmas. So yeah, that's coming. Just FYI. Okay, cool. All right, and then let's go ahead and talk about the Muse palette. I really enjoyed this palette. You can see that it's a little bit hard to kind of tell in the camera, but I did use this pretty extensively. I've gone through every single shade. I am currently wearing it right now. I have Peony across the lid as the base color, and then I used Love and Source to kind of just deepen out and really add that pinkness to the eye. So yeah, I actually really love this look. I feel like it's very romantic, very matte. So again, really liked this eyeshadow. I did struggle a little bit with Velvet, just like I did when I did my first impressions with this eyeshadow palette. Every single time that I kind of tried to use this to really deepen everything, I felt like it did move a little bit and it did skip a little bit. So out of this entire eyeshadow palette, the only color I think that was kind of was probably Velvet. One of the differences that I noticed between the Muse palette and the Essentials palette is that the shimmers are a different formula. So in the Essentials palette, Carrot and Thea are more of like a grittier glitter kind of an eyeshadow, whereas Glimmer is more of that like softer eyeshadow that kind of just blends a little bit. It doesn't really need kind of like a really sticky primer to stick. It kind of just is that like softer formula. So I'll go ahead and show you guys. So this is Carrot. Even like to the touch, I can feel that it's a little bit grittier, more glitter on it, right? And it even swatches a little bit different. And then if I pick up one of the shimmers in here, like Finery, which is a very similar gold, it's just softer to the touch and kind of just more of that like typical buttery eyeshadow formula. So in general, it definitely comes across a lot more pigmented, but in person, the difference is that I think the glitters from, or the shimmers from the Essentials palette, they're actually a little bit more gritty, the reflect on it is a little bit actually more intense in my opinion, even though this one looks like it's the color is slightly more pigmented. This one is definitely more glittery though, and it's just a different shine. I like both of the formulas honestly, but that was just something that I wanted to come back and make sure I let you guys know. Shimmers are definitely different in the Muse palette, so yeah, they're definitely more of that like softer kind of a shade. In general, very impressed with all of the products, or all of the additional products that I picked up from Vieve this time around. I really enjoyed everything. I think everything serves its purpose. I think everything is very true to Jamie Genevieve's look and the way that she does her makeup. And so, yeah, again, I think she's curating a really amazing line. I can't wait to see what else comes out. And that pretty much wraps up this video. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in next week's video. Thanks again for watching. Bye!
We need to wash our windows.
Yeah, we do. Who are the Chiefs playing? I thought the Titans weren't good.
They're very up and down.
Oh, they're good this season.
If Derrick Henry's running, I can't stop that guy. There's nothing you can do.